they do have decent kill potential between the troll and the clock. So I quite like this pick.
Ooh, Necro. And from what I've been seeing, the Necro so far has been Necro mid. Might be Vici committing to Paparazzi with the Medusa safe lane.
Yang plays that hero in the offlane though as well, right? I think
He
and
did.
Yang both
I
play
think
it.
when Necro was more of an offlaner, Yang did play it a lot. But
I feel like Vici Gaming and Necro is such like a classic combination as well. They've been picking this hero for ages, it feels like.
yeah, they always hold on to the Necro. I think he's always been an okay hero. He's definitely, you know, had his highs recently. I think he's still riding it with a couple of the heroes that are in the meta that Necro really does counter well. And his lane usually goes pretty decent mid. He's very survivable in that lane.
The hero doesn't really lose the lane in a 1v1. Like,
Yeah.
you kind of always get something. So. And with it being a flex pick for him, it's really nice. Like you say, this Dusa could play mid or say. Because they have last pick overall in the draft, they can just see, you know, how the lanes are going to set out from EHOME before they choose where everything goes. I'm not really sure about this first pick Lich, by the way. I'm not convinced. That hero has not seen a huge amount of play. Ooh.
Shadow Fiend Clockwork.
This
Get
is
the
a
early
classic.
souls.
Do you remember? I remember casting a UK team once going through open qualifiers. They made it to the final actually, and all they did was pick Clock SF all the way. And I don't think I've seen it since then. That was a long time ago.
What tournament was that for?
It was for the major qualifiers, or like the minor qualifiers or something.
And they made it through on just SF.
They made it all the
Clockwork
way
alone.
through to the final of an open qualifiers. Yeah.
Open qualifier.
It was quite something. I mean, for the UK, that's something, dude.
It's the biggest accomplishment.
It is. So, I feel like they need some kind of team fight here on EHOME. They could play the Clockwork as a position 3 as well, I guess, but I think you probably want to play it as a 4 here because it does gank and roam so effectively against these heroes from Vici. Maybe something like a Tide or a Darkseer's banned out. It's not a great Tide game because of the core matchups.
What about Underlord?
Again, Unlock's not really a great hero against Medusa and Necro. He doesn't really fare too well in the laning stage against them. Pango would have been okay, but it's just been banned out by Vici. They need like some hero to gather around at like the 10 to 15 minute mark. Be able to take fights with. Let's have a look. Maybe like a Pugner or something might be okay. It's really good against Necro. But it's pretty rubbish against Nyx. It's the only issue.
So, banning that Ember, I think EHOME are thinking that Yang is going to play that Necro.
I think you probably... I don't think you want to put the Necro mid against SF. That matchup doesn't sound fun. So... you would have to assume the Necro's probably going in the off lane. So I think that's right.
Could they even throw it safe lane and throw Medusa mid?
They could put Dusa mid, but I don't know how Dusa does it up against a Shadow Fiend with souls.
Whoa!
What the heck?
Wow.
Is this a... It's a really good Ricky game, to be fair. Like, it owns the Nyx, the Shaman, and the Necro.
Offlane Ricky?
Okay. Or is it offlane Ricky or is it offlane Clock?
I would like to see offlane Ricky.
10 seconds remaining.
Let me just reconnect this 1 second.
Oh.
Not sure if that helped. Hopefully it did.
I hope so.
I think we both have to reconnect though.
Oh, okay.
I'm not sure.
You may now select your heroes.
Oh wow! And they go tiny mid.
Okay, I mean, Tiny's probably one of the only heroes that can lane up against this S because, you know, the SF's going to start with 70 damage or whatever it is because of the extra souls from the clock. Is Xiao playing the 3 in this stack? I haven't watched them at all this tournament.
I believe he
or is he playing
yeah.
4?
Jinkyu's the 4.
I knew he was normally, but I didn't know whether they were changing anything up just for these qualifiers. just to accommodate Zhao 8.
Because Xingqiu used to play the off lane for Serenity back once upon a time, and then he got moved to the 4 there too. And then I think he's just stuck at 4 since.
I'm just putting Serenity in my team every day at TI whenever they played. I loved that man. He was so good.
Serenity was such a fun team to watch. I know they didn't place too well at TI, but coming out of nowhere to qualify for TI and then, you know, do as well as they did is pretty impressive.
I'm looking to Vici trying to put a lot of pressure onto the SF this game.
Yeah.
I think the SF, if you don't touch him this game, could just take over. But just because of the early start he has with the extra souls, I think you really need to try and focus on killing him early. Maybe look to. We used to see like some people used to gank him between the tier 1 and tier 2 towers at level 1, like when he's blocking the creeps and running into lane. That's what people used to do when the clock SF was popular. Just to take away some of his extra souls at the beginning of the game. How is Xingqiu level 10 on Ricky? What's happening?
He knows something we don't.
Fun fact, Ricky's my most successful hero with an 82% win rate.
Huh.
Love that hero.
I don't think any of my heroes have over a 25% win rate. A lot of tips coming out. Feels good. Free currency. Free shards.
I don't think it actually does anything though if you do it in lobby.
That's upsetting.
I love that they've given Xingqiu both awards, by the way, as well. You know, when you have this perma invis, there's no reason not to give him both of them to go in place.
Does it count as a 3-2-2 if you bet shards? If what you're gambling is shards?
Mate, yeah, that's true. Yes, I'm going to throw this game because I really want that Magnus.
The 10-1.
Oh,
oh man. Got 1,000 shards.
This Ricky's starting items are interesting. Normally we see something like an Orb of Venom come out, you know, for these roaming position 4s like Earth Spirit and Ricky, but he's actually just gone for straight stats and a stout shield instead.
The battle begins.
A little bit different.
Xingqiu, I'm interested to see his positioning and how he plays this Ricky. Just because he is an aggressive 4 position. He reminds me of Bobica in terms of he's always moving, always trying to be a playmaker. So how is he going to play this out? He's in lane with Zhao 8. Which...
Yeah, I mean, Ricky's laning stage as a hero just isn't that good, like, at all. It doesn't really matter how you know, gloss it. He really needs levels to come online. I think the most important thing for him this game is that he utilizes his smoke cloud well in engagements. Obviously, the miss chance is really good against the Dusa, and the silence is super good against all these heroes really.
Yeah, it's going to be very hard for these heroes to do anything with the smoke cloud running on top of it. Is it one of those games where you're just going to go like smoke screen 1-1 with Blink? Take a look top, and getting chased, not dead just yet. He does have that stick, and he did use it to stay alive, but Yang, as well as this Nyx Assassin of DY, playing it very aggressive over towards top, so End has to be careful, but back to Xingqiu, do you think, like, is it just a max smoke cloud kind of game, and one of the Blink Strike to escape, and one of the Cloak and Dagger?
No, I think you always max out the invis. I would probably go 1-1-3 still as normal.
Really?
And then maybe, yeah, I think so. I mean, the max smoke, you probably max smoke cloud. It's really difficult because all his skills are so good. With like all his skill points are really valuable, which is why it's so important that you get XP on this hero. Zhao 8, it feels like Zhao 8's playing the position 4 by the way. I think Xingqiu's farming.
Could definitely be possible. I wouldn't be surprised if they just had a bad performance with Zhao 8 playing in the offlane that they've switched it up, because he was playing in the offlane. He was the 3.
I'm glad I'm not going mad and I did ask the question now. Because I feel like this clock is just so much better as the position 4 this game. Like, you really want to give this Ricky levels and farm. He's just so much better with them. How's this mid lane matchup going? Tiny's actually doing pretty well. Obviously, the knives from SF are all cogs pretty much. So. Inflated values.
They've got Fade with an Invis rune. So Ferrari needs to be careful. Ferrari, who had been playing for newbie Mr. Game Boy. We saw Alwyn the other day in the off lane. And now you've got, for a new team, and now you've got Mr. Game Boy alumni Ferrari mid here for EHOME.
He has no toss, though, on the Tiny at the moment. He's gone for the 2-0-1 build, so the kill's not easy as such. And I think 430 knows something's going on here, so just goes to Saka camp instead. He knows that the Shaman wasn't in bot lane. Like, Zhao 8's been standing between the bot lane and the mid lane.
Zhao 8 has the cogs on a paparazzi. And the shots are coming in. Gets him down to half health. He's pretty low on mana. He does have 4 charges in his stick. And then Innocence, I think, just ran out of mana and killed himself to the tier 2 tower. Not a big deal. Not something that's too regretful to miss. But level 4, he does finally get one in the toss. Take a look over top as it's level 3 for End. And level 3 for Yang. And Yang is just about even with this troll. At least so far.
I am a little bit worried for EHOME that this dude is not having the... I guess she's matching the troll pretty much. So. I think if EHOME had picked a different kind of hero that would pressure their lane more, this Deuce would probably be getting nothing. But Zhao 8's looking to come mid here. I really like what he's done here. If you see Zhao 8's timing on this rotation is when his SF hits level 5. Because he understands that the hero is so much stronger when you get the level 3 raises. They really want to try and make something happen.
Yeah, they'll see if they can get Ori and come all the way around. The Avalanche comes in, but that gives Zhao 8 the opportunity. Tosses him away. They still have the cogs to keep Ferrari away. The raises hit. They have Battery Assault keeping Ori nearby, but it's under the tower, and at that point, Ferrari just can't really commit.
Yeah, he missed the short raise, unfortunately, when the Tiny was in the cogs, so couldn't get the kill. They might have been able to get him otherwise. It happens.
It's about a half level ahead of Ori, too.
Yeah, he's having a decent time. Like, this SF... The Tiny always does well for the first few levels or so, but when these level 3 raises come out, Ori's going to have a really difficult time.
That was an interesting move. I don't know if that was necessarily because of this lane in particular, but I watched the Avalanche get thrown by Ori in the mid lane with like creeps at half health, and they glyphed the lane.
Yeah, just annoy him as much as you can.
Nyx Assassin coming mid. Avalanche hits onto Ferrari as well as Zhao 8.
If you look top as well, they know that the Nyx is mid lane, so they're going to go for the Necro instead here.
Yeah, Yang
just
in a little bit of
really
trouble.
good awareness.
When they've got the Sinister Gaze, that might be enough. Continue to chase, and moving in. First blood for End onto Yang, and without that Nyx Assassin, there's nothing really there to save him. No Impale, no Spike Carapace, able to run down Yang and really take full advantage.
It's when you see plays like that you understand the communication between teams is so crisp. Like, this SF has said, like, oh look, this Nyx isn't top anymore, guys. You can make a play here if you're able to. And they go, yeah. And they just turn, flick the switch completely straight away.
Making an immediate move onto the Necro and helping this troll out. Troll's been doing okay, but the Impale comes through. DY. Doesn't really have enough damage to get End.
Jinkyu has maxed this Cloak and Dagger, by the way, so it has 3 points in it. I'm not too surprised.
Fair enough.
I'm interested to see what he maxes second more than anything.
Is it for the, just the fade delay, or are you looking more just because it's the agi damage multiplier?
It's. I feel like it's mostly the agi damage to help you, sustain and CS in lane.
Mm-hmm.
But obviously the invis cooldown's really nice as well. So.
Would it have been different if he was in the 4 position, you think, the build?
No, I think it still stays the same. You really want to max out that Cloak and Dagger first. As the resident Ricky expert.
It's the 80% win rate Ricky resident winner. No, I said resident twice. But, yeah. I'll take your word for it. Not a hero I play too often. I'm not that kind of guy. Shit says a lot about your character.
Neither do I, to be honest.
What I've noticed is a lot of patience, and I don't know if that's the right word. We saw it yesterday with the hesitancy that came out from Vici, and it just and newbie too. It's very odd. As Zhao 8 bottom, battery assault starts to run away from the Shadow Shaman. The smoke cloud on top of him, and the right clicks come through. One more would have been enough. Jingqiu needs it, chasing and can't get him through the trees. Fade survives.
The Zhao has been playing out of the lane to try and give a lot of this XP to the Riki, but unfortunately, if he'd have been level 4 and had the rocket flare there, would have been a kill. Oh, top lane, he has an invis rune on the SF.
Oh, SF comes over and an easy kill on Yang. The raises hit all 3 of them. Ori rotates, but it's just way too late.
A good rotation.
So
it's nice to see these SFs getting active early on these side lanes when they get good runes, because it feels like we see this so often where they just sit in the mid lane and rotate between there and the jungle just to, you know, flash farm really quickly with the raises. But your hero is so strong with the power of these raises early on. He's going for the mech, you know, the Greaves build as standard.
He's hitting real hard at the moment, and they're going to look for Ori, who stayed up in this lane for quite some time. The third raise hits and gets the kill, but meanwhile, bottom, Jingqiu does take care of Paparazzi.
He's just hit that level 6 now, so really nice combo if you can get the Medusa in the cogs. Just throw down the tricks of the trade from the Riki. It's a lot of damage coming. And I love that. The thing is with this Riki, like, as well, that he's a diffuser blade builder. So if he can ever get on top of this Medusa, she basically can't have a game where she just AFK farms, because this Riki is going to be following her around the whole map all the time. Vici are basically just going to have to sit as support with the Medusa at all time. Otherwise, Jingqiu is just going to make her life absolute hell.
So, I used to, and it may just be these qualifiers that the small sample sizes made me think this way, but China was a lot recently about just going at each other and being aggressive constantly. But we've been seeing a little bit more hesitancy from these Chinese teams. And spotted. There's the Vendetta hit, breaking them. They've also got the Impale. Avalanche comes in. The Frost Shield is there. The Sinister Gaze to pull Ori's attention. And they look to maybe get Innocence as he's finally hexed.
Oh no.
4 heroes trying to get him. Oh, finally the shackle lands. And there's the Reaper Scythe. And unfortunately, when you're a 5 position, that hurts that much more.
Yeah, Innocence managed to just fog juke him a little bit there to try and stop the shackle from coming off. But good attempt. Forces you know, them to chase him a little bit longer at least.
Paparazzi has moved over towards mid, and this is put Ferrari bottom, avoiding Paparazzi for the moment. But this is rotating Zhao 8 as well as Jingqiu over, and Jingqiu level 7 going into the Diffusal Blade and looking all right to start this game.
Man, that was such a value Radiant Glyph. They managed to protect their own bot tier 1 for a little while longer, and they also glyphed, and the catapult was attacking the mid tier 1 tower by itself as well. Got an extra few hits in. Such value.
It's the value damage. 4 staff first for Yang on the Necro.
I mean, it's such a good 4-staff game. Like, you're playing against Clock Riki. I think they should build 5 4-staffs, to be honest. It's You'll probably see the Medusa build a Hurricane Pike first as well. Like, she doesn't really have a choice this game.
I need to be able to get out of those cogs in a way.
I honestly feel like you should just be building a Dragon Lance instead of the Yasha this game. Just because, you know, you really need this Hurricane Pike anyway.
You think it comes afterwards? He just builds the Yasha and then goes into the Dragon Lance?
I think he'll build the 4-staff before the Dragon Lance. Just because he just doesn't have a choice.
Smoke Cloud. Cogs pushing Nyx out of the map. But DY now finally gets the dust. That's on the Riki, as well as Zhao 8. But Zhao 8's not the one going invis. Tricks of the Trade is used. And they'll try to set this up so they can get the stun. They find the toss. They've got the Avalanche. Jingqiu trying to get out of here. And, well, the dust wore off, and they did not have a sentry down to start that.
Yeah, that was very underwhelming, wasn't it? That's the thing, though. With this Tricks of the Trade, it delays so much of the time that you could be getting chased down by dust. It's a really tricky hero to lock down.
It's just odd the way they set that up. Like the early Nyx Impale that was nowhere near timed right. It seemed off. Very sloppy from Vici there, which is, again, after seeing them run the major and minor, it is not something I'm really used to seeing. They've been playing so clean recently, but does it come down to, and these are always the stupid questions. Oh, as hook shot, hold on. Paparazzi hit with the hook shot. He's trying to run away. The raises are landing. Paparazzi one shot from 10, but the force staff back. That comes out from Yang. Not enough. Xiaowei gets the kill with the rocket flare. Reaper Scythe on a Ferrari. They've also dropped down the Serpent Wards. He'll die. Rec Room in death will hit, and they lose Fade. So 2 dead for Vici. Shadow Shaman gone. Xiaowei next. Double kill for Yang.
Yeah, you can go for more here. There's a stun up on the Nyx. No, okay, they're going to chill. I mean, that fight could have been so much worse for EHOME. Luckily for them, the SF had just picked up a mech, so they stayed alive a little bit longer. But they killed the Dusa, which is what they came for. So not the end of the world. They trade 2 for 2, and the Shaman wards were used as well. So
we'll be force staff
Vici
next.
not going to have those to use aggressively.
Force staff next for Paparazzi. So as I was saying, like, is there maybe any inkling of thought that there's just some slowdown with Vici? They've been playing Dota competitively, intensely, straight for 2 months.
Yeah, I mean, as much as we say, like, oh, it's their job to play Dota, like, this is what we all want to do, oh, this is amazing. It's still like you have that mental wear and tear where if you're playing Dota constantly all the time, it must be so difficult to keep yourself, concentrated. It's not easy.
Yeah, major qualifiers, minor into the major, into these major qualifiers with, what, a day's break in between the minor and the major? They just got back from Dream League. Like, it's been travel too. It's a lot of just intense times, constantly.
That's just the way it goes at the moment this season, isn't it? Where you have this competition, you get back home, you're like, oh, maybe we can have a break now. No, you're straight into qualifiers again. Like, there needs. I'm surprised there's just not like a few days more break.
Wonder if that's a part of the fact that they just need to acquire these visas, and they're trying not to get teams who miss events because of that.
Yeah, you would assume so. But that's the way it goes. We have to just play the rules that are given to us, with what rules are given to us, if any, ever.
What, vague or not.
Yeah. We haven't really seen too much from the Nyx and the Shaman this game, by the way. They haven't really been playing, like, making too many aggressive plays. I say that, they just dropped the Shaman wards in the mid lane, but...
They drop them, but EHOME are looking possibly to fight. Zhao 8's got hookshot. Yang moving forward. That may not be the right positioning, but, they do get the tower, and EHOME back off. I think if EHOME played that maybe a little bit more aggressively, they go and get the hookshot onto Yang. That could have resulted in a kill, but they just don't know what lies behind it.
Yeah, you just play it safe there. You don't have vision in the mid lane if you're the Dire. They've committed the Serpent Wards as well, so it's not like it's going to be easy to defend or take that fight. I really like that 430's building for the BKB now before he finishes off the Greaves. I think it's really important he has the magic immunity this game. Like, there's not a huge amount of physical damage on Vici Gaming's side, so if he can get this BKB early and try and force fights with the mech, could be really effective. I'm surprised at how well Paparazzi's farmed this game on the Deuce. He didn't have the greatest of lanes, so...
But I think the laning stage just kind of broke down so quickly that he was able to move around a little bit more. And hook shot, long range, Shadow Shaman, and should be able to get the kill. Zhao 8 takes it with the battery assault. Also, Troll's building a BKB too. So BKB there, and then a BKB for the Shadow Fiend too.
That's not too bad of a death though for the Shaman. Like, he's trying to push out the lane and on the top side, so... It's not like he's getting caught off in his own jungle or something. He's trying to make aggressive plays on the map and, force lanes in. Oh, bot lane. The Chain Frost comes out.
not really doing too much. They've got the smoke screen through on a DY.
Ricky has Diffusal Blade now. It's on the courier.
Or he's got the blink, and that just brings him right in. They land the impale with the avalanche and the toss, and Innocence just blown up immediately.
Where is Ori's farm? Feels like he's lacking behind a little bit, but he did have to lane up against the SF, so...
And I think that lane
kind
is
of
even
to be
harder than Paparazzi, and he doesn't... I mean, he has some tools to kind of farm back, but you're also giving a majority of the chunk of farm to this Paparazzi Medusa. You know, you'll willingly take the back seat, especially now that you've got this blink dagger. One of the most important items here for the Tiny, where he's able to blink and get the get the avalanche toss.
Innocence playing the courier, by the way, bringing out Ricky's last item for his Diffusal Blade. Very nice of him. Sometimes, as a position 5, you just gotta, you know, give up your dignity and just start playing the courier. That's the way it goes.
Jin-Q had Ags queued up for a second. Now he's got Ags queued up again.
Oh, they saw the Nyx up in this top lane with the Ward and the Sentry. So Jin-Q TP's in to try and bait him in. Like, this troll's gonna run... Why would you not run left there?
They took the Sentry, they find him. Sinister Gaze with the silence, no way out. Easy kill there for End. They spotted him, and they didn't immediately go after him, too. And that was very well played. To wait for Jin-Q, to wait for this, for Innocence. Get an easy kill.
They could really do with some dust or something as well, I think, at some point, just to be able to find this Nyx. You feel like Xiao 8 should probably be carrying it on this clock as well.
How do you like the Holy Locket on Yang? On this Necro?
It's a pretty... It feels like it's a standard build for most Necros at the moment, right? Like, you go for this Holy Locket and then you just build into the mech and the Greaves afterwards. Just gives you nice extra sustain, extra healing. But the other thing as well, that it's such an easy build-up, this item, like the Holy Locket. If you check it, it's like this energy booster which you can build for Arcanes first. Then it's a nice little 700 gold item that gives you health and HP regen, and a cloak, which gives you magic resistance, which... They're all such small, cheap items. So Holy Lock is just such a good first item to build into because it gives you a little bit of everything, which is kind of what Necro needs. And then you're going to get some armor from the mech anyway.
And this Observer with the Sentry, I believe, spotted DY once again. The pings are coming out, and the Ward spots Paparazzi anyway, as well as Fade. So Jin-Q's setting up. They've got Shadow Fiend coming in. The silence would be onto the Shadow Shaman. The hook shot actually misses. The Force Staff back. Fade able to survive. Now they've got the Hex as well as the Serpent Wards. They've baited in Jin-Q really deep. Stone Gaze comes out from Paparazzi. The Chain Frost thrown from Y. It's a 1-for-1 so far for the two Invis heroes. The Spirit Vessel placed on Fade and comes over. Will get themselves the second kill. And now pops the BKB. So let's see what he can do here with Ferrari in tow. Xiao 8's already used the hook shot, but they're just using these Force Staffs so effectively from Vici to get away from these heroes, get away from the grasp of EHOME. I
mean, it's such a good, like we talked about, it's such a good Force Staff game.
Ooh, they almost look to go back in.
They're pushing them out of cogs, they're pushing them out of smoke cloud. It helps kite the troll around if you just Force Staff people. It's really difficult for EHOME to actually get their damage off because they're lacking so much lockdown. Like, they don't have good catch apart from if the clock gets somebody in cogs or the Lich gets a Sinister Gaze off. This is why I thought they would last pick something that would allow them to take team fights, like some kind of like catch and team fight. It's pretty difficult for them to get, to get any kind of damage off with the Ricky or the Troll.
You can see just how easy it is for Vici to kind of scoot away. It'll be an Echo Saber for Ori, but we'll see which one, the Shadow Shaman or the Nyx. Maybe build another Force Staff, because you've got the Force Staff on Necro as well as the Medusa and one more. I mean, at that point, how do you even keep up with these heroes?
Yeah, I'm not sure. I am not sure. What's this Shaman?
Ooh, they smoke
I
over.
really like...
Hook shot onto Paparazzi. Cogs pushing him back. And I actually like the deny is there because they've got the question mark, but Ori comes over. Avalanche toss. Xiao 8 with the Stone Gaze, and now Ricky comes in, tricks of the trade, BKB pop by End, and they get the kill on a DY. They'll look for more, but here comes Yang, here comes Fade, Chain Frost Roam bouncing around onto these heroes, taking out Fade, and now the Sinister Gaze. Paparazzi in so much trouble with the BKB pop. There's the Requiem on top, but End and Innocents are taken out. He'll look for the TP away. DY thinking about stunning, but the BKB is there.
I like how DY is like, oh, I don't really have time to check how long his BKB is lasting before he TP's out. I'm just going to throw a stun at the end of his TP just in case it runs out.
Oh, and the dust on his Jinkyu, they spot him. Toss him back to the team into the Impale. They have been throwing these alley-oops to each other real well.
They have been playing some overthrow to practice their spell usage. That's what I've gathered from that. But yeah, that was really well played. It's an interesting interaction that we haven't talked about this game, is that when you play the Necro up against the Troll, it's really difficult as the Troll to ever get your Battle Trance off when you're low HP, because you're always going to get scythed before. So you basically, you have to, he didn't do it that fight, but you have to throw out your Battle Trance earlier. Otherwise, you're not going to get it off at all.
Going for the tier 2 tower. Hey, the Troll has been pulled in multiple times, and I think he seems to be getting a little bit overly confident with the BKB. And
yeah,
that fight also dragged on in a weird way, because it looked like they were going to get Paparazzi. But, ooh, hook shot.
But that's the thing, right? Like, they go on Paparazzi with this cogs, and they're like, oh yeah, maybe we can bring him down quickly with the Troll on the clock. She's just 4 staffs away. Like, what do? There's no more lockdown after the hook shot on the cogs to be able to keep these heroes in place. And so every time these 4 staffs come out, it's really difficult for EHOME to get on top of people. I don't know how many times I can say it.
It's just so true. Like, that really is the deciding factor in these fights.
Like, the Shadow Fiends built this mech and this BKB so they can try and group up early and make things happen. But if you're not killing heroes, like, it's really difficult to go high ground to Vici's side as well, just because of how this Medusa works. Like, how many times have you seen it where a team's doing really well against a Medusa, but they still have to go high ground against it? And all it takes is, like, one bad fight, and all of a sudden she just takes over the game. I think if they take this... I was going to say, if they take this tier 2 up here in the top lane for Vici, you can just look to take the Roche straight after with the Shaman wards here as well.
How would you get into the Roche pit if you're EHOME and you're looking to contest?
I mean, you have the hook shot, right? So you can engage, but it's not easy. They have their BKBs to pop on their cores as well. Like, playing around the Roche pit with Chain Frost as well is nice. But yeah, this Medusa's really difficult to lock down.
Clockwork. Serpent Ward's committed to that. I'm not sure those were necessary, but I don't think they're going to be pushing too soon, where those are going to be too detrimental.
Yeah, I mean, there's no pressure on them to end this game anytime soon. They can just carry on farming. There's no rush. That's a really nice heads-up play by Vici, that they know the bounty runes are spawning on the bot side, so somebody from EHOME is going to want to be there to try and pick them up. So he TPs from the top lane down to the bot shrine on Faye. Yeah, just picks up the free kill.
Get that observer reward too.
Dire's middle tower is under attack.
They'll start to go for the tier 2 tower. They don't need Serpent Wards for this, but again, it's just pushing away these towers from the top and mid lane, and then maybe going for Roche afterwards. But Zhao 8 setting up, looking for the hook shot, but the catapult was there, and now hit with the Mystic Snake. That takes a lot of his mana away, and the SF's over here by the shrine. It won't matter. The hook shot is just way too late, and Ferrari's already gone. He's set for 90 seconds, and he doesn't have buyback. They'll get the Clockwork too, and it's a 5,000 net worth lead for Vici, taking these skirmishes so well.
That feels so sloppy from 430 there on the SF. Like, he just saw them D-ward on the shrine. Like, he knows they're around there. Why would you TP in by yourself? You're so, cast away from the rest of your team.
Or
it's literally just dead.
Jumping in, avalanche toss. He's got the Echo Saber. There's not much he can do. And now you're without 3 heroes, and you're without a tier 3, and that's not Vici stopping. They're not slowing down. They're going to go for the melee racks, and that might be the pullout signal, but they still know that Shadow Fiend's down for 50 seconds.
They've just taken a set of racks without the Serpent Wards on the Shaman.
I'm
really you look at this lineup, how they normally would have no ability to push without the Serpent Wards. There's no way they'd be committing to those kind of engagements. That's it feels like more of a silly mistake from EHOME there than anything.
And with that, Vici going to Roche. I thought it was going to be the tier 2 in a Roche, but then it was the tier 2, the Shadow Fiend kill, and the Clockwork kill. The tier 3 in the melee racks, then Roche.
Yeah, they've just achieved so much in the last 5 minutes or so on Vici. Like if you look at the net worth graph, it's just shot up all of a sudden after being even for so long. Just because they have this ability to just group up and take fights now around this Dusa that's...
Or he's trying to set up in front of a potential hook shot. Yeah, there it is. That was very easily coordinated. They get the kill on a DOI, but Zhao 8's already dead. The BKB's been popped early by End, and that could be a problem potentially on a re-engagement here from Vici. As from the pit, they've got the shackles, and Xingqiu dead once again.
I don't really understand what the Ricky's done this game. Like, I thought he'd be a lot more aggressive on the Medusa around the map, but he picked up his Diffusal Blade so late that it can't. The Medusa was already really farmed and already had a 4-staff by that point. And it just feels like at this point in the game, he can't really do anything. Like, if he doesn't have a BKB on this Ricky, he's not getting into fights to get things off, because Vici are obviously always going to have sentries down.
I get the top shrine. Paparazzi's got the butterfly, Aegis, a fresh one. 10,000 net worth lead. Vici, they're really looking like they're in the driver's seat, especially to finish off this game quite soon. Good warding from Fade, and that does spot this troll, and they're looking for the shackle, but End able to just skate away.
I think Zhao 8's going to be in trouble there. Shaman has blink up in 3 seconds.
Well, or he gets the avalanche through on a Zhao 8, and they'll go through the cogs and hookshot back to his troll.
Alright, that's he saves his own life. Nice little play, but they're still going to lose their tier 2, unfortunately.
And they might even lose more. Well, why stop pushing? They've got Serpent Words.
The thing is as well, like, Zhao 8 has this vessel, right, on the clock, but he just doesn't have any charges. So basically all his net worth isn't really effective at this point in the game. Just because they haven't been getting any kills in so long, it feels like.
How quickly they lose this tier 3. The melee racks will go down too with the Serpent Wards, Yang and Paparazzi hitting at it. Guardian Greaves for the Shadow Fiend and a Diffusal for the Troll. But this would have to be a one-off, and they'd have to win EHOME convincingly to stay in this game, it seems.
Like, how do EHOME start this fight without hookshot? It's impossible. It's their only initiation. So with hookshot being used to save Zhao 8, you know, from dying before, it's impossible to get on top of these heroes to start a fight. You know, this dude can always pop Stone Gaze if they get close as well.
It's really hard for EHOME to think about going in, and they've got to change this Mystic Snake Mana Steel. That talent is so good. That could be the level 20 talent, in my opinion.
I agree. I think that, yeah, they could swap it around so they put the snake cooldown at level 15 and then the steel at level 20.
It's just so good.
I mean, that would just help your farming speed so much, though, if you had the cooldown at level 15.
Spot Paparazzi, but the question is, how do you get on top of him and make sure you get the kill, not once but twice? Because he might die the first time, but then the second time he'll have a team. The
thing is, like, you can't even go on Paparazzi first, though. Like, you have to kill the Shaman and the Nyx first, it feels like. And even then, there's this Necro sitting with Greaves, Yules, and 4 stuff on the front line. With this Holy Locket, too. Like, he's... How do you bring him down? Because he's tanking so much of the damage. And he's built so many defensive items that it's going to take ages to bring him down.
Just barely have any mana after you get hit with one Mystic Snake. Clockwork almost doesn't have enough mana for a hook shot and another spell once he gets hit with the Mystic Snake once. It's really tough. You know, you're relying on that hook shot, but then you're forced back because you're out of mana. The Blink, Avalanche, Toss, Serpent Ward's laid down. BKB's going to be popped by Ferrario. Look for the Requiem. That will land on a couple of these heroes as well as the raises, but it's not going to do enough. Zhao 8 stands there as it looks like he was going for the hook shot, but gets hexed, gets shackled, gets tossed, gets killed. There's the Stone Gaze. BKB from End. He's looking for a target. Now he's turned to stone. The BKB about to wear off, and it will. They've got the Reaper Scythe, and that hits on a Xingqiu to get the kill. They finally pop the Aegis. But what else do you have to get this going.
Dire's
They
top
still need to try and hold. The hook shot is okay, but the Force Staff's out, and then they've got the toss with the Avalanche following it up. Zhao 8 low. Zhao 8 just getting away, but they've got the Yules, and then Ferrari surrounded by 3 and immediately buying back after this death. And backs off, but he's hit with the Spike Carapace. That locks him in for a moment. The Chain Frost bouncing around, and it's not going to matter. EHOME, they call GG. Mega Creeps are here. Avalanche toss once more on the Innocents. And Vici, 33 minutes into the game, take it 19-13, 22,000 up.
Yeah, I feel like there was a little bit of draft issues for EHOME with lockdown, but I feel like Vici just played that game really well. Like, this Deucer just farmed super quickly. It feels like they didn't really put a foot wrong the whole game. Maybe a little bit in the laning stage, but nothing too worrisome. And it just felt so much easier for them to play this game than EHOME side. Like, EHOME effectively have to play a perfect game to be able to win this, it feels like. And I think this Ricky has to get a better defusal timing to be able to hunt the Deucer quicker.
Yeah,
but if you're getting your defusal blade at the same time the Yasha 4-staff comes out from the Deucer, you just don't really have any kill potential on her anymore.
Yeah, Yasha and the 4-staff was there a minute and a half before the defusal blade for Xingqiu. It was just too late. And it seemed like things were going okay in the laning phase for Xingqiu too. They had gotten an early kill on the Paparazzi. And then they swapped the lanes. They sent Paparazzi over mid, continued to farm the jungle over by the secret shop, and Paparazzi recovered really well. And then got the Yasha and the 4-staff, and from there it was really history. He died twice. That was in the laning phase, and then he really wasn't touched.
Yeah, like none of EHOME played aggressively on the map on the top side of the in the Radiant top jungle either, like ever. So Paparazzi just sat there for 10 minutes, it felt like, and just farmed up, like you said, and all of a sudden he's just a completely different hero. Like, Zhao was playing the bottom half of the map pretty much all game, and Xingqiu was also playing the bottom half of the map all game. So your two aggressive heroes early on just weren't focusing on this Medusa at all. Because Xingqiu just didn't make an aggressive play until he got that defusal blade, because I'm not sure he can.
Yeah, and once he got the
Really
defusal, it
difficult
just
game for
seemed
them to
too
win.
late.
I'm a little bit disappointed by EHOME, I'll be honest. I thought that game looked so close for so long, and then all of a sudden that SFTP for the Shrine's dead for 90 seconds. It felt like the game was over after that point.
Yeah, it's really rough for EHOME. I think they're still getting used to this roster as it's first showing up in this qualifier. And they need a lot of time to figure it out. So we'll see if they can. They've got one game left, otherwise they're eliminated. Maybe it does take a little bit of time. We've seen it before where it does take time to get your lineup feeling secure. Maybe they do end up going to the minor qualifiers and qualifying that way.
Yeah,
it wouldn't surprise me.
But I'm looking forward to I'm looking forward to game 2 still though. Be good fun.
Yeah, so we'll be ready with game 2 in just a moment. Vici versus EHOME. Vici with the 1-0 lead. They are one game away from the lower bracket final, and the winner of that lower bracket final will be going to Disneyland. So we'll be back with game 2 in just a moment. I'm your caster VCop, joined here by MoFarah, and stay tuned.